I've been juggling for 17 years and I've done thousands of different juggling tricks, most of which I have created. So today we're going to be ranking the top 14 rolling juggling ring tricks. For a bit of context, a juggling ring is a piece of plastic, is a ring, and a roll throw is whenever you throw a ring and it rolls on some part of your body in some kind of way. There's a few different types of variations that we'll get into, and you'll see that soon enough. And before we begin, I just wanted to let everyone know that I'm currently on Patreon, so if you want to support me in all the videos that I make, you can check out some brand new juggling every month that I'm putting out and creating a little bit before the rest of the world gets to see it. The link will be in the description below. Number 14. Starting off with a classic juggling trick, this is the 3-ring shoulder roll shower with alternating under the leg passes. Not only does this trick look fantastic, but it's also opened up a lot of doors for me for future juggling patterns, most of which you'll see throughout the rest of this video. If you don't know what a shower pattern is, it is basically a juggling pattern where one hand is throwing high and then the other hand is catching and bringing the ball or prop back to the other hand to make more high throws. And because of this, it looks kind of like a circle in the air, which is what you see a lot in cartoons when people are juggling. This trick took literal years to learn. I tried so hard to learn this trick and it just wasn't clicking. The weird thing is that this trick has a lot of time. There's a lot of space to throw the rings in the shower pattern, but no matter how hard I would try, I just couldn't understand the pacing. It was unlike any other learning process for any other trick I've ever learned, because it didn't make any sense and it didn't feel possible until one day it just magically clicked. And I can't really explain why that happened. The alternating passes under the legs is actually surprisingly pretty easy in comparison to the other portion of the trick. In fact, the day I learned this trick and it finally clicked for me, I added on the under the leg passes in about 30 minutes. So if the trick is so great, you're probably wondering, why is it number 14? Why is it last on this list? That is because it was already done by Tony Pezzo roughly 10 years earlier. And not that that's a bad thing. I mean, I looked up to Tony and I wanted to learn this trick because I saw it was possible, but I just don't have any personal attachment to it like I do the rest of the tricks on this list. And that's why this trick is getting last place. Number 13. If you've ever gone through the process of learning the basics of juggling, then you know a trick called the box. It's one of the first tricks you learn. And basically how it works is you pass a ball between the hands and then you do straight up and down throws with the other two props. Not to sound like an oxymoron, but this is one of the most advanced beginner tricks. And I have translated this to a 3-ring juggling trick where the 2 side throws are being thrown over the shoulder. This trick is cool looking, but it's not as cool looking as some of the tricks we're about to see coming up. Number 12. One of the hardest elements of ring rolls is trying to find room where there just isn't any. That is painfully apparent with this trick, where I'm throwing with both hands to the same shoulder. If you thought the shower pattern was bad, this is 10 times worse. There is barely any room to work with here. This is roughly twice the speed because I'm throwing with both hands. The shower pattern is a cakewalk compared to this one. And while other people have done this trick where they throw both rings onto the same shoulder, I wanted to make it a little bit different, and I also wanted to make it easier, and I think I found this solution. I added in this neck roll throw every 4th throw. That way I have enough time to reset all of my hands to be ready to make those god-awful throws. And as an added bonus, I spin now. So dynamically speaking, I think this is the better trick. And it's also really interesting because there's not many juggling tricks that go 1, 2, 3, different throw, 1, 2, 3, different throw. Usually in juggling patterns, you do 2 throws of one trick and then 2 throws of another, or maybe 3 throws of one trick and 3 throws of another. So it's really refreshing to have this pattern that's really lopsided. It's 1, 2, 3, and then a totally different throw, and then 1, 2, 3, and then a totally different throw. And while I do think this trick is really, really difficult, I don't think it's as pretty as some of the tricks coming up next. Number 11. Now this trick is simple but elegant. It's a 4-2-3 pattern, which, without jumping into too much juggling lore, basically means that the 3 balls are staying in columns in front of me and not crossing. And one nice thing about this is that all 3 of the rings have their own designated throw and they do not exchange with each other. So in this trick you can see I throw 1 ring to my head and that ring always gets thrown to my head, and then you have the 2 rings on the sides which are getting thrown to my shoulders, and those are always thrown to my shoulders. It's both simple but also complex in the way that it uses multiple parts of my body. One thing about this trick though that is very difficult is that the roll that goes on my head is actually a slightly different throw than the roll that goes on my shoulder. What I mean by that is that the rings roll differently on my hair because it's very fine than it does on my shirt, which is a little bit more coarse. So I find myself throwing a little bit softer when I throw it to my head in order to properly do the throw. Again, it's a super cool trick, but it's a little simple and I think we can get a little bit more complex. Number 10. One of these tricks is not like the other, and it is this one. This is a very funky and awkward looking trick that honestly just doesn't fit with the other ones, but because of that, I think it kind of has its own unique style. It's based off of a Branson roll, which is a throw where you roll a hoop or a ring down your back and you catch it when it reaches the bottom. My innovation is tossing the rings between my legs every time I have to send it back up to the top. Again, it looks pretty silly and I have to shuffle my feet around just to make it work, but it's pretty cool in a novel kind of way that a lot of these other tricks don't have, which is why I bumped it up to number 10. Number 9. When you're first starting out juggling, there's one trick everyone wants to learn: Mill's Mess. It looks great, it's beautiful, and this is my twist on it with 3 juggling rings and 3 different kinds of throws. Very similar to the 4-2-3 pattern, all of these throws are being made independently and every single ring is assigned a different throw. There's a pancake throw, a cross arm over the shoulder roll, and then also this very unique throw where you throw a pancake and it rolls off the top of your chest. I think this is truly the first really beautiful juggling trick on this list. It just flows really nicely and it looks like it was meant to happen. Like I wasn't even supposed to be there, it was meant to be. On top of that, this trick is also quite difficult, which is why I'm putting it at number 9. Number 8. This trick is pretty straightforward and pretty self-explanatory. 4 ring shoulder rolls. When I first did this, I had never seen anyone do it with this technique before. I'd seen people like R2 do more complicated versions of the same trick, but I'd never seen anyone just running 4 rings. I think this is partially to blame because, first of all, there's not a lot of people juggling rings, but also it uses a really awkward throw, which is the same side shoulder roll throw. I mean, I get it. I understand if someone saw this and thought, yeah, maybe I don't want to make that throw. Maybe today I want to be happy. But the number of tricks this one trick has opened me up to is insane. And one of them you're about to see right now. Number 7. Here is the same exact trick, but I make a single throw that rolls off of my knee and then go back into 4 ring shoulder rolls. This was 100% a video trick, and I'm never gonna perform this. I'm never gonna do this out of the context of this video, but I thought it was a really cool proof of concept to show, hey, it's possible, and it's very, very difficult. It would be cool to try and use both knees, but maybe next decade. Number 6. This trick blew my mind when I first found out you could do this. It's 3 ring shoulder throws, but your arms are crossed. It looks super counterintuitive and it feels super counterintuitive as well, because instead of throwing to the opposite shoulder, which is more comfortable, I'm doing every single throw throwing to the same side shoulder. This trick is difficult, but the thing that really puts it over the top for me is that it is just so pretty. It looks super, super cool, and it just doesn't make sense when you're looking at it. However, compared to the top 5, this trick is a cakewalk. Number 5. Now here is a complicated, really freaking hard juggling trick. I'll break this down the best I can. It is a 5-ring pattern where I'm throwing a multiplex, which basically means I'm throwing 2 rings at the same time. One of them is sliding off the top of my head, while the other continues on its path. However, since it's so hard to just do that by itself, I added in a multiplex throw where one of the rings is being thrown over my neck while the other one stays behind. This gives me just enough time to reset and get ready for the next set of head roll throws. This one sucked to get on video, but I'm super happy I did because I really love the visual of this one and it looks so complicated. Number 4. This might be the prettiest juggling trick on this list. It just makes sense and the rings flow together so nicely. And I'm honestly surprised I had never seen this before I did it. The way that the rings on my head and the rings on my shoulders flow together so nicely and in unison, it just scratches that one spot in my brain that I just really need to itch. This is definitely one of the hardest tricks on this list. It took me a while to get this on video, although I do think this one is learnable, unlike some of the tricks on this list that feel like they're left up to chance and I actually can't progress any further with. But absolutely gorgeous trick. This is a 10 out of 10 trick for me and absolutely beautiful. Number 3. Alright, down to the last 3. It was quite honestly a miracle that this trick is possible because I have to use this technique where the rings float over my head and then they roll off my elbow. But I figured out if I have 2 rings that I throw at the same time, one of them will get left behind and then the other one will fall down onto my knee. And by utilizing 4 different juggling rings at the same time, I can make this amazingly mechanical juggling pattern. If I was giving out an award to one of these tricks for looks like it shouldn't work but it do, this would be that trick. And like I've said in the past, this trick has a lot of heavy inspiration from Tony Pezzo, as he uses his face a lot with these roll tricks. And overall, another 10 out of 10 trick for me. This is a fantastic trick. I'm super happy with the way this one turned out. Number 2. Number 2 is one of those tricks that you could just make hundreds of juggling tricks based off of it. The premise is this. You make a multiplex throw with 2 rings. One of them rolls off one body part, and the other one rolls off a totally different body part. I've utilized where I roll one of them off a body part and the other one stays up in the air, but I've never done anything like this before, and I still haven't made anything with this idea or concept since then. It's just such a cool and neat idea to see how you can make one throw and then 2 separate objects are doing 2 entirely different activities from that one throw. In my mind, it's absolutely unbelievable that this trick works. It's super slick, super cool, and when done right, I would say it looks pretty chill. It looks like it isn't that hard. But believe me, this one is pretty up there. Another 10 out of 10 trick for me. Number 1. One of my favorite things in juggling is when someone can take a 3-object trick and make a 5-object version of it. There's not many times I can say I've done that, but this is one of those times. I had always seen people do 3 rings where they're rolled on the head, but this is the same trick, but they're splitting as a multiplex and it looks absolutely crazy. Even just looking at it, I can't really tell what the heck is going on. And I'm the one juggling. A 10 out of 10 trick, it looks absolutely fantastic, and it is the hardest trick on this list. But I want to know, what is your favorite trick? Do you agree with this list? Let me know down below. And if you enjoyed this content, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It helps out with the algorithm a lot. And of course, my Patreon link is down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.